morning, everybody. My name is Seth Stevens, and I'm a realtor at and the owner of Stevens Home Group, powered by Keller Williams, Realty North Central Washington, here right in Wenatchee. First of all, I want to say thank you to 1 Million Cups and its amazing organizers for inviting me to come today and kind of speak after they saw an article that was in the Wenatchee Business World of last month. That was a cover story in December. So if you're interested, go online, read it. It's kind of cool. It's a good story. But I'm basically going to give you most of what it is that I did kind of right now. But first off, I want to kind of explain to you a little bit about what it is that my company is, and then I'll kind of go into a little bit of the story of how it is that I've gotten to this point where I'm at right now. So right now, Stevens Home Group, powered by Keller Williams, is a real estate company, a real estate team here out of Wenatchee underneath of the Keller Williams umbrella. We offer brokerage services for any sort of real estate transaction anywhere in the state of Washington, but we focus here in North Central Washington. We have grown to have, it's me and one other agent currently that is on the team, but we are moving into a direction where we're adding hopefully 2 more by the end of this year. That's the goal, scalability, right? And I currently go to school in Bellingham, Washington, at Western Washington University, where I'm pursuing a degree in public relations with a minor in political science. So for me, scalability is very important. I need to be able to run my business from a distance, which is really cool with the way that we kind of telecommunicate with everything. You don't actually have to be here to do any sort of part of the real estate transaction. Stevens Home Group, kind of talk about the numbers, where we are, and how we've gotten to that point. Obviously, most of you probably never heard of it. We're not a very large company, but that's okay. We have to date closed on $5.6 million worth of real estate within the last 18 months. The company was founded on November 21st of 2018. And since, which obviously is only about 1.5 years, but before I'm also including my numbers in there when I was a personal agent. But I didn't sell a single house for the first 6 months while I had my license, which was really difficult. I'm only 20 years old, which is, at the time I got my license, I was 18. So that's kind of been the biggest obstacle that I've had to overcome throughout all of this. But we've closed on $5.6 million worth of property. Currently we have $4.9 million in active listings and $500,000 pending, which is supposed to close in the next 2 weeks. Hopefully, as long as everything goes right. But we pride ourselves on using technology in a more effective way than a lot of other brokerages will here in town. We make commission a no haggle conversation. It's not a deal breaker because we actually let our sellers choose how much they pay us rather than deciding on, this is what you're going to pay me or whatever. We actually let them, because we offer different packages where this is what you get for this, and this is what you get for this, and this is what you get for that. It's more of a tiered structure that can kind of meet everybody's plan, unless we're working with kind of an abnormal situation. Then from there, obviously, things kind of change a little bit depending on the situation. But kind of everybody knows what a real estate company does, so it's not that I'm doing anything that's significantly different than, say, somebody who's at Premier One or Century 21 or another person who actually works at my office. Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington, is the largest real estate company here in all of North Central Washington in terms of agent count. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, well, Stevens Home Group, what does that mean? It's actually its own brand underneath Keller Williams, so I'm allowed to market myself. I'm allowed to kind of have my own marketing strategy, my own logo. It's its own LLC. Everything's kind of my own, but I get to use Keller Williams in terms of having a designated broker, for office space, for brand recognition, because Keller Williams Realty is the largest real estate company in the entire world in terms of agent count and closed volume, which is something that Wenatchee has not experienced. But we actually opened up our office. We became a Keller Williams in 2018. That's when we officially became Keller Williams. So it's really exciting. Since then, we've grown to be one of the largest in terms of closed volume, and we are the largest in terms of the amount of agents who actually work for the company. Now, the thing that's mostly unique about me, because everybody knows, like I said, real estate's kind of universal. You can go with anybody and they can probably get the same end result most of the time. Not necessarily the most effective manner in terms of percentages, in terms of actual list price to sale price, stuff like that. We are a little higher than average than most. but that's a different story. It's not a sales pitch. But the reason why I was invited here today, I think, was because of the fact that I was the first person in Washington State's history to get their real estate license while still in high school, which is really, I'm proud of. That's probably the one thing that my claim to fame. I was 17 years old at the time when I was approached by a recruiter here in Wenatchee. Her name is Crystal Hughes. She comes to the event sometimes. I was working at JCPenney. We talked a little bit. Met with her. I was a few weeks away from turning 18 years old, and that's where I was wanting to go into more of a commission-based sales because I was tired of making money like Jimmy Lewis. And that's when we talked to each other. We're opening up a new real estate office in town. It's going to be a Keller Williams in the future. Right now, we're opening up as this brand, but which was MCW Realty at the time. But the goal is to become Keller Williams. This is our vision. This is how everything works. You can build your own team. You can build your own brand. You can do everything more personalized to you rather than actually just being able to paying all of this money to market Keller Williams. You can build your own brand and do whatever you want. That can be transferable to anywhere. You can go anywhere in the state of Washington. It's not specifically just here in North Central Washington. So that's really neat. That's one of the cool things. We're good?
That was
it.
A quick 6 minutes.
Yeah, it was.
So I have to say, wow.
Wow.
There's a lot.
20 years old. Wow. Good on you.
Thank you.
So, how can we help him? What's your questions?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've accomplished a lot in the last couple of years. And as you've established this group, you have people that now work for you, with you, for you, kind
Correct.
of. I'm curious about your growth trajectory.
Yeah.
You've grown a lot. You're growing into a higher role. What are you doing, and it may be school, it may be outside of school, to develop yourself professionally to grow with this and to be the leader that you're positioned as?
It's a good question, and I don't think that I necessarily have the correct answer to it, because I don't think there is one, obviously.
I don't either, and I'm 46.
Yeah, but a lot of it is just being more intentional with what it is that I'm doing with the brand messaging, with keeping up with social marketing or social media and whatnot, staying very consistent in what we do and being very purposeful and actually maintaining that rather than losing it, because we have experienced significant growth over the last 6 months in particular of that, over that $5.6 million over the last 18 months. I believe the numbers work out to somewhere around 4.5 have been within the last, or no, not 4.5, 3.5 have been within about the last 6 months alone, which is really great, 3.5 million. But with that being said, on a more personal level, to be able to lead the team and to be able to do everything, it has been difficult for me in a lot of ways, because I've also had to deal with some significant personal loss throughout there, which has been tough. But it's mainly just trying to keep, my head up, keep being determined, and just kind of get through what it is that I need to do, and always, talking to mentors and stuff like that. I'm surrounded by some really amazing people at my office who've kind of taken me under their wing. My designated broker for one, Russ McCullen, he got his license when he was 19 years old, I think, or maybe it was 18, but 19 years old, I think, somewhere in there. And that was 30 years ago. He's kind of, been able to help me, keep me, keep my head straight and make sure I'm, being able to move forward and not revert backwards and actually continue to grow and continue to grow the business at the same time, because kind of what Amy was saying, you can't really focus on the business unless you have yourself first, because your business is almost.
You said that you're going to school as well.
Correct.
So it sounds like you've got like a business that's exploding on one side, and then what's the end goal with it seems like two different directions to me, so how do those tie together?
For me, it's not necessary. I've made 3 trips back to Wenatchee within the last 5 days. So it's staying really busy, I'll admit that. It's not, I don't know if real estate's going to be my end goal. I don't know if that's what I'm going to continue to do for my entire life. I don't know if it is what I want to do, because it kind of just fell into my lap. It was never I was never I never had anybody in my family who was in real estate. I never had any friends, family who really was in real estate. So it was never something that seemed like a real possibility to me or a goal, I guess. But for me, it's important to have all options open and to continue to, if real estate's not what I want to do, I do want to have a degree that I can fall back on. And because I was in Running Start through Eastmont and Wenatchee College, so I graduated with my AA degree. So I'm already so close, I'm a year away. And because the business is doing really well, I've had moments, I've had that same question where people are like, well, why are you even going to school? What's the point? You know? I just want to be sure that I can, you know, continue to be as good as I can be and have as many options available for me. And another big part, personally, I was the first person ever in my family to graduate high school, and I was also the first person ever to get a college degree. And it was something that my mom was really proud of for me, you know, that she was very, get your degree, like, I'm so proud of you. And she passed away in February of this last year. It'll be a year and a few weeks. And for me, it's seeing it out for her, and not only her, but, you know, for myself too.
It's more of a comment.
Yep.
One of the things I learned because I was first one in my family to go to college is that the thing isn't so much the degree that you get, it's the person that you become while you're going.
Yeah.
The experiences that you have with people that you meet. So keep it up.
Yeah.
Since your real estate business is so can be moved to a different place, why have you decided to continue building it in Wenatchee versus putting more effort into Bellingham since you're there?
Yeah, so currently we are testing waters in Bellingham in terms of marketing, with everyday direct mail mailers, with social media campaigns and all of that good stuff. We're partnering with a lender to kind of start doing more up there. But this is where people know me. It's easier. And when I started real estate in the first place, age was the biggest detractor for me. Because if you can imagine going to a realtor who is 18 years old, you're going to go to somebody for professional legal advice who could potentially cost you, you know, thousands of dollars, not only in the commissions, but also if they mess up something, it could be detrimental to you. And they're coming to me with the largest financial decision that the average person will ever make in their entire life. They see an 18-year-old kid and they're like, no, right? And so finally here in Wenatchee, I've kind of gained some credibility. It's no longer my age, it's no longer, oh, you're that 18-year-old kid who was the first person to get their license. That's so cool, I love it, you did that. But I'm gonna use Heidi later, or just to use a name, right? I'm gonna use somebody else, another big name in Wenatchee, over you, just because of your age, not because you've proven to me that you can't do it. So that's always been something that's really tough for me, and finally when actually I've gotten to a point to where I can go into a room with other realtors and they actually respect me. They come up to me, they shake my hand, they talk to me. Whereas 6 months ago, they would never pay any attention to me. They're like, you're that kid. They immediately dismiss you. And that's something I've always kind of struggled with, because I've always been way more mature, I guess could be a word to use, for my age. And I was Eastmont High School's FBLA president for 2 years. All throughout high school, I had anywhere between 3 and 4 jobs at a time, working at least 40-something hours. Not because my family couldn't financially support me, it's because I wanted to do it. I wanted to be busy. I wanted to make something for myself. I didn't want to take my family's money and all those things. And finally, I'm at that point where Wenatchee is respecting that and they're acknowledging that, and I don't want to not lose it per se, but I want to capitalize on it. I've been given an opportunity, I think, and I want to make sure that I use it to the most of my abilities. And also, Wenatchee is an amazing place, and I only have another year for my degree, and I can totally see myself moving back here.
So, two-part question. The first part is, a comment. You're a good example of what an entrepreneur is, right? You're just that you're always reinventing and creating yourself, right? My first part of my question is with the internet, online, real estate's changing, right?
Yes.
So the traditional 10 or 15 years ago is now changing. So when people are moving to more of a, not engaging a realtor? How do you see that challenge? And the second one is, it doesn't hurt to be on the cover of anything in this town, right? You were on the cover, which gave you exposure, but how do you typically market yourself?
Yeah, those are both very good questions. The one that I answered, first off, thank you for the good comment. But to be able to say, for the marketing standpoint at least, we use a lot of social media marketing. That's very, very important. And that kind of ties into the first question too, with how do you kind of combat the fact that people don't seek out realtors as much. When, in Seattle you have Redfin and Zillow, and Amazon's actually giving them the fact of selling leads. They just invested in a company that's going to be selling leads, for thousands of dollars to realtors. And realtors are paying it, but they don't realize that they're paying them to put them out of business. Same thing with Zillow, right? You're paying Zillow hundreds of dollars a month, or thousands even for some people who in this valley, some agents in this valley are paying thousands of dollars every single month just to market on Zillow. And they're getting a bunch of good leads from it, but they're in turn funding them to be able to just continue that kind of sell it back to you type of thing, and it's just making it worse and worse, and the prices are going up and up, and the leads are becoming less valuable because more people are just going on there and doing fun stuff and saying, oh, I want to buy a house, but they don't really, right? But they paid, $200 for that lead. But the cool thing is Wenatchee isn't actually experiencing a whole lot of that whole, we don't want to see a realtor, we just want to do it all online or whatever. There's still a lot of face-to-face communication, and it is changing, and that's kind of where I come in an advantage, because a lot of realtors in town, or just in general, I guess, don't embrace technology as much as they should be. I have an app on my phone that's through Keller Williams exclusive, that I can go to somebody's house, I can say, hey, hey Kelly, what's the average price per square foot in this neighborhood? It'll tell me exactly, and I can give them a rough estimate, and we can be within 3% probably the value of the home very fast. The average realtor, oh yeah, let me walk through, let me see, okay. They're going to come to the exact same conclusion that I just did in 2 seconds. And to be able to have that sort of technology is still so important, and it's still so valuable that people see it and I didn't know you could do that. It kind of freaks them out sometimes. I'll get late nervous. But in Wenatchee, we're not seeing the same kind of dynamic that we're seeing in Seattle, where people don't want to have that same face-to-face communication yet. It's going that way. It will. As the average home buyer, my generation starts buying homes, we don't care about face-to-face interaction. Realtors will often say, well, it's not because of the service that I do, it's because of who I am, it's my personality, I'm my business. You are not your business. It always boils down to your commission, almost always. And it almost always boils down to the fact of, can you get the job done or not? They don't necessarily care who it's through. I think it's something along the lines of 90% of people say that they'll reuse their realtor, and in reality, 12% do. The one they used previously. Just because you can always say that, oh, I'm going to use my realtor, you don't care. You just want the end result. That's all that matters. It's whoever answers the phone first. I've lost deals where people will be talking with me and I missed a phone call, and they turn around and call the realtor who answered, and they did the deal with them. And I lost $8,000 in commission. And there's nothing I can do about it because I understand why they did it. So that's kind of what I would say to that first one. And then in terms of social and marketing, at least, it's very much so word of mouth. Your sphere of influence is very, very important. And that's something that's kind of ramped up as in the fact that I am so young, and I am in a unique situation where people are actually more willing to talk about it. Like, hey, did you hear about that kid who has a real estate license? Not that I like to refer to myself as a kid, but I will if it's positive exposure, right? It's very much so social media marketing, keeping up on everything. Any opportunity that I get to speak at stuff like this, or to just meet with somebody new, or to meet a lender in town, or to make those connections is so invaluable, and it just kind of spreads.
But so you just kind of alluded to answering the phone or being available is key for you. So how do you manage to do that when you're, do you have a system for that? For being always available, so to speak?
Yeah, I think more so it just needs to be a mindset, and kind of going back to the why am I going to school thing. I don't want to say school is secondary to me, but it kind of is. I will get my degree one way or the other, and I will meet those people and make those connections and become a better person regardless. My business, I only have one chance to really scale it and grow as much as possible. So if I have a phone call, I will stop everything and I'll go to it. Unless it's, personal family sort of thing, then obviously there's boundaries, right? You have to set boundaries. But I've had times where I just had to get up out of class and walk right out. And the professor was like, why did you just leave? I was like, I had to take a phone call. And then, well, what is it? And then, well, you know I'm a real estate agent, and you know how much potential money is on the line, and you know how important this is. Then I'm sorry, but it's opportunity cost, right? Same basic economic principle where is sacrificing just a little bit from your school or whatnot worth more than your business. So I just have to always, not necessarily a system, it's something I should probably work on a little bit more, but if I'm ever not available, one of my other agents is available to help them.
I was gonna say, with as busy as you are, have you put strategies in place to better manage your time so you're not spreading too thin?
Yeah, that is something honestly that I've always struggled with. Like I said, going all through high school, I was in junior varsity tennis. I was FBLA president. I had 3-4 jobs at a time, working anywhere between 30 and 45 hours a week. I had regular school, all honors and AP classes. I was also doing running start at the college once I finally got to that point. So I've always been a very high functioning person, but there's never been a point where I'm too busy and I'm overwhelmed. No matter how busy I've gotten, but I should have systems in place to kind of prevent that, but I don't currently. And that's when that day comes, I will be kind of shocked, where it hits me and it's like, this is too much. Because like I said, I made 3 trips back to Wenatchee in the last 5 days, plus school, and a friend's birthday, and writing up an offer for a client, and working with some other clients that I have a really big listing for over in Sunny Slope, all these different things, and I still haven't spread myself in, so I haven't found that point yet, and I'm hoping that I never do, but if I do, I'll call Andy.
Or call Annie before that happens.
I'll call my therapist and then Andy.
Okay, so I love this point that we're talking about, because in order to accomplish a whole lot of things, there are all kinds of other things that we can choose to say no to.
Yes.
And I was listening to a little 5-minute morning thing from a few days ago right after the Super Bowl, and the commentary from this gentleman named Darren Hardy, he said, so now that you've finished watching these other people live their dreams, what are you going to do in your life to live your dreams? Where are you going to focus? So I bring all that up because his point is, what do you say no to in your life? What's your balance between entertainment and education? Yeah. So what are the things that you see as a successful individual and a driven individual? What do you say no to and eliminate from your life as distractions so that you can pull off all this stuff?
That is a loaded question. I understand.
For example,
so when I was younger, I used to play a lot of video games with all my friends, right? I eventually got to it. There was one day where I because they track how much time we spend on them, and you can see it, like statistics, where I was playing this video game that me and my friends were all really into. We played it together all the time, and I don't know, I was probably 13 or something at the time, and I looked at the amount of hours I spent on it, and I was 14 actually, because I got my first job ever at the Wenatchee Super Bowl when I was 14 years old. And then a year later, I started managing 16 employees there for the next 4 years. And I looked at the number of hours that I had spent on that video game, and then I multiplied it by the minimum wage at that time, which was $9.47. And I honestly almost threw up, because I was only 14 years old at the time, and I was like, it was like over the course of a year and a half with my friends, and a year and a half with my friends. And did I really spend 1,000 hours on this video game with my friends? I was like, that's $9,470. I was like, what could I do with that money? I would be so rich if I had that much money right now, right? And now I'm like, okay, well, $9,000, I don't even know what the heck that is anymore. But it's not really as much money as people think, right? That was kind of when I had my first big paycheck, my first really big paycheck. I was like, whoa. And now I realize I'm like, it wasn't even that, you know, that much in the grand scheme of things. You can't accomplish as much as you can with it. But at that time, that was such an eye opener for me, and I cut it out. I was like, I'm basically done. And I to this day, like, I maybe play video games like 40 hours a week, right? I still watch TV. I still text my friends. I still spend too much time on social media like an average, 20-year-old person. Should I? Probably not. But I think it is important to still maintain some like sense of normality with your peers and whatnot, because if I didn't, then I also wouldn't be able to necessarily grow my business, because in the next 20 years, all of those people are still going to be, those are the ones who are going to be buying houses, those are the ones who are going to be propelling my business in the more effective way. So I have to still be in touch with that. And because I just like to go on Instagram sometimes. But for me, it's really hard to say, to figure out what it is. I still hang out with friends. To figure out what it is. I still hang out with friends. I still, I go to a college. I volunteer. I go to the wellness place with Dodie back there. To my mom, when she was battling cancer, went to them, and we're working on some really cool, exciting things. So I still have all this time to do everything, but I still somehow make it all work. And again, that kind of goes back to I do need to learn to say no more often. I do need to figure out what it is that, I should sacrifice for what, but I just haven't reached as much as I've had to, I guess. So, not really an answer, but kind of an explanation of how I think about it.
That's good. Perfect time, you got it. Okay, $1 million question.
Yeah.
How can we as a community help you right now succeed?
I mean, if you guys know anybody who wants to buy or sell a house, let me know. I have cards. I have a website. It's StevensHomeGroupWA.com. It's currently under construction for a new website, but it'll take you to a Keller Williams one, which routes around to me anyways. Social media is very important. Facebook presence. That I will ask. We just listed, I just listed a piece of property in Sunny Slope, the largest single piece of property that's representing the Omi family, who initially founded Omi Gardens and all of that stuff. It's 144.85 acres, very developable in Sunny Slope, listed at $3.95 million, the second most expensive piece of property for sale in all of North Central Washington. If anybody knows anybody who's thinking about getting into development, or a group of people who have some funds that want to invest, let us know, because obviously it's not every day that you meet somebody who's walking around $4 million to purchase 145 acres of dirt, right? So anything like that would be really cool, if anybody knows anybody, but just really share my story, I guess, tell people about who I am and what I do, and even if they don't want to buy or sell a house, just be unapologetic about saying I know something. And that's kind of how I live my life. That's how I meet people and talk. I don't necessarily worry about being offensive when I tell people it is what I do, because I think that's so important as an entrepreneur. You have to tell people what you do and how it is that they can help you. And that's one of the things I really like about this whole thing, is that you guys are offering help and how the community can directly help me. I guess it's just pretty self-explanatory. I guess if you know people who want to buy a house, send them my way. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.